Renowned conductor maestro Konstantin Kitsopoulos is set to lead the New Jersey Symphony in the North American premiere of Baahubali The Beginning live in concert on July 27-28, 2024. The concert will feature M.M. Keeravani's epic score performed live in sync with the HD screening of India's biggest box office hit, directed by S.S. Rajamouli. This event showcases Kitsopoulos' versatility across genres from opera to symphonic music and film scores. The film will be shown in Hindi with English subtitles. You have an incredibly diverse background in music. Could you share with us how your journey in music began and what inspired you to pursue conducting?
Well, my mother was an opera singer who sang at the Metropolitan Opera, among other places, and all the regional companies in the United States and in Europe. And so she taught me how to play the piano from when I was a small child. And then I subsequently took piano lessons with a local piano teacher. Vera Donovan was her name. And she showed me a book that had various patterns in it that a conductor uses to communicate music to an orchestra. And I decided from that moment on, I was about 6 years old, that I was going to become a conductor. I kind of always knew that I was going to become a musician, but conducting is what I decided to do. And so I worked my way through and studied, kept studying the piano through into college, and studied conducting with Vincent LaSelva, who used to conduct the New York Grand Opera. And I was assistant chorus master at New York City Opera for 5 years in the mid-'80s, and started getting conducting jobs and all over the country, small orchestras leading to bigger orchestras, and so I've been doing it for quite a long time now.
Wow. You're currently preparing for an exciting event, Baahubali The Beginning live in concert with the New Jersey Symphony. Can you tell us about this event and what audiences can expect?
What you'll see when you come into the theater and what you'll experience is a live symphony orchestra of probably about 85, 90 musicians on the stage.
Wow.
And we'll be playing Keeravani's score to the movie live while the film is projected on a big screen above the orchestra. So you'll be able to hear all sorts of musical detail that you might not hear if you watched it, at home or even in a movie theater. The experience of hearing the sound of a live symphony orchestra kind of wash over you in the audience is unlike anything else. It's a spectacular experience. Pair that with the stunning visual effects and cinematography in Baahubali, it's going to be quite an explosive experience, I should say.
What drew you to the film Baahubali The Beginning, and what do you find most inspiring about its music?
I've always been interested in Indian music and Indian culture and the cultures within the culture.
That's very interestingly put, cultures within cultures.
Well, because from my understanding, there are so many different languages spoken throughout that country. And certainly, I started to come at my interest in Indian culture through the food.
Wow.
And, if you go to Southern Indian food is very different than Northern Indian food and so on. So that's why I say cultures within a culture. But in terms of the music, I've always been fascinated with percussion, Indian percussion. And the intensely complex rhythmic content of Indian music, especially when it comes to rhythm in the percussion, it's always eluded me. I've always thought to myself, wow, that's really difficult. That's really, if I can come close to even partially mastering that, that would be very, very satisfying thing. And so that, and also Indian singing, the tradition of song, and I'll use a Western term, which is modality. The modes, the scales that are very different than Western scales. That kind of complexity has always attracted me to that type of music.
How does conducting a live concert for a film like Baahubali differ from your other conducting experiences?
Well, the number one difference is the film keeps going. No matter what I do, the film keeps going. So I've got to know the film, I've got to know the music, and I've got to know what we call the hit points or the cue points. Not only where a music cue starts and stops, but you know, they're in the battle scenes, for example, when there's somebody punching somebody or some kind of visual event.
Yeah.
The music usually goes with it, and you have to be very precise about how you coordinate those things.
What do you think Baahubali The Beginning is a great choice? Why do you think that is for a live concert event? And what do you hope the audience take away from this unique experience?
Well, as a film, it's visually spectacular. The cinematography and the special effects are just so remarkably beautiful. And the songs are the songs within the score are quite beautiful as well.
Any comment on the storyline, by the way?
Yeah,
you did not mention that.
It's interesting because the storyline is, you know, there's this baby at the beginning, right? That whose mother is carrying the baby up with her single hand up like this, and then she eventually sacrifices herself for the baby, and the baby grows up not knowing who he really is, and eventually finds out. I don't want to give away too much for
Everyone's seen the film.
Well, that's good. There is a kind of universality of that story has been told in various forms, in various genres since time began.
Right. You have some similarity with any American film you can think of?
Well, not an American film that I can think of at the moment. I'm sure, although I'm sure there are such films. But in opera, for example, Verdi wrote an opera called Il Trovatore, where a baby is born and grows up. The baby's origins are noble, and the baby grows up not in a noble family, but being raised by this very poor mother, and eventually finds out who he really is. And there's falling in love and all sorts of other conventions that we can see in so many of these stories, no matter what culture one comes from.